Synthaholics. It's the Red Tribal Podcast.
Welcome to Synthaholics. I am Aaron O'Brien here with David Duncan. What's going on, Dave?
Hey, what's going on? The ultimate computer.
Ultimate computer, bro.
That was last week.
It was.
Had all them fancy knobs and switches on it and stuff.
It was intransient.
Intransient. Ooh. One thing we forgot to bring up last week, speaking of the ultimate computer, was the control aspect from Discovery.
Yeah, you guys all had like a post-thought during or afterward.
I thought about it during the show, and I think I got distracted talking about something else. But after Control, why would they even have allowed Daystrom to come up with the computer that'll take control of the Enterprise and run it by itself after they spent all that time? Well, I guess they declassified everything at the end of Discovery Season 2, but still, like, wouldn't they have just, like, said, no, we're not going to do that. We won't tell you why. Just don't.
Just don't do it. Come on. Well, first of all, there's no nanobots with the, what's it called, the Mark V. So there's no nanobots as far as we know. And, you know, I don't know if he meant it to be that super smart, and it just kind of grew from there. I don't know. And the strange thing, too, is that, you know, Control became, it was basically becoming self-aware, right? You know, and seek out new life and new civilizations.
Well, I feel like Control,
Control is obviously kind of mean.
Yeah, well, yeah, it was very mean, but it was trying to become self-aware. But, I mean, it seemed like M5 was starting to become self-aware. It did have human engrams built into it.
Sure.
It was basically a clone of Daystrom that was stuck on a computer.
Right, and they killed it.
Yeah, it killed itself. Kirk talked it to death.
Talked it.
If only Kirk was around during Discovery so he could have talked Control to death.
That would be great.
Michael Burnham does not have those skills, apparently. He can't talk the computers to death.
I don't know if
If she didn't learn that skill.
I don't think Control really wanted to talk to anybody, really.
Probably not. I don't know. It's just interesting that they would even allow that to happen. But I'm still confused in Discovery's timeline whether or not Section 31's a secret or not, because everyone seems to know about it, even Klingons. So
Section 31, here we go.
So I really hope they clear that up, and I'm guessing they won't in Season 3 since they're in the future, but maybe the Section 31 show will clear up whether or not it's a secret organization or not, because they don't seem to be.
Nah, they won't.
Even though in their behind-the-scenes featurette for Section 31 during Season 2 that they posted on CBS.com, they said Section 31 is a super-secret organization. I actually laughed out loud watching that video because it doesn't seem to be true. I'm high class. With my pinky up.
Well, I don't know if those things will ever get covered, and part of me wonders if the people who wrote Discovery really watched any of the original series or anything else for that matter. So I'm hoping the people from Picard at least watch some of them, watch some of the next gen episodes.
Yeah. Maybe. But speaking of Discovery, we're going to talk about an episode that's way sexier than both seasons combined.
Yes, we're talking about the Enterprise episode, the Xindi, which is...
This episode doesn't even contain a decontamination scene, and it's still sexier.
Still so sexy.
So sexy.
just before we get into that real quick, if you want to get in contact with us, you can go to our Facebook page. We can go to our Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/Synthaholics. Join the conversation there. There's lots of people chiming in, writing goofy things and talking about Star Trek. Also, if you want to just respond to us with something a little more long form, you can go to email us at synthaholics@yahoo.com.
Yahoo.
And yes. And you could tweet us at Synthaholic Duo. You can hit us up there. And if this show is fun and you like listening to it and you want to help support us, please go to patreon.com, /Synthaholics, and consider donating to us there. It'd be more than helpful and very welcome. So, anyways, to the episode, the Xindi. This is the TV show Enterprise season 3, episode 1, and it first aired September 10th, 2003.
And this is what you've been asking for, or it's what we decided we were going to give you. Back, was it a year ago? We talked about the last episode of season 2.
I think it was, our episode was 191. I think that's how far back it was.
Almost a year ago, if not more than a year ago. And so we decided, since we don't talk about Enterprise very much, we'd make it easy. We're going to do Easy Street Enterprise. Every time we talk about Enterprise, we're going to go through the entire Xindi arc. So it might take us 23 years.
Yeah, we'll be like we'll be all like 70, 60 years old, you know. Remember the Xindi's attack on Pensacola, Florida?
Remember the last time we talked about this a year ago? It might be even longer than 23 years because we do have like all these new Star Trek shows coming out soon. So
I think it's doing. There's a lot of filler in between the Xindi War.
Will we ever get to the end of the Xindi War? Who knows? Stay subscribed to us for many, many years to find out.
Yes, fine. see where we land.
This is like a to be continued from a year ago.
Exactly. Unpause. All right, so they're 6 weeks into the Delphic Expanse. So if you didn't know what the Delphic Expanse was, this is weird area where like weird spatial and time and space anomalies happen,
and where zombie Vulcans happen apparently sometimes. Yes,
and people can go crazy and they just turn like you said, like basic Walking Dead type people. Anyway, so the crew was told by a freighter captain that he knows of one Xindi working at a remote mining colony. So they decide that they're going to make their way there. Then we jump to the Xindi Council where they're talking about the ship is going to attack. And we get a scene with the Xindi reptiles and the Xindi insects and how they're alarmists and they think that's the beginning of an invasion, and they're talking about obviously getting their next weapon ready, the next Death Star weapon ready to go. So they're trying to build that one, but they have to do more tests.
I love how the reptilians look like Saren from Galaxy Quest.
Yeah, and the what is it? The aquatic ones?
Look like Shamu from SeaWorld.
Yeah. It's just, I find it amazing that they all get along, though. They just seem like they should all just start killing each other. But
well, usually in like what was it, the Enterprise episode where Phlox committed genocide, they decided not to help the planet because usually species, and then they have an express. Actually, I guess this is an earlier episode, I guess, but they have an express thing where like 6 different races that are all Xindi live together.
Yeah, right.
Phlox was wrong. Genocide is not right. #.
Well, all right. Well, so Enterprise is on its route to this Trillium mine, and they're saying, well, that was it. Reed goes, that was the freighter captain was a questionable character, and Archer is still just I don't know. Archer's just angry all season 3.
He's gonna stick up his butt the entire time,
and so he's like, what was this before?
You know why he's really angry is because he's not the love interest of T'Pol anymore.
Well, of course.
I'd be pretty pissed off, too, if she wasn't my love interest on the show anymore.
But he didn't know this was happening yet, so you can't say that at the moment.
Oh, he was probably told. They probably briefed on what was going to happen during the season.
No. I meant. Well, I meant. I just meant like you didn't know it at the time period. But yeah, you think the actor, he was pissed off?
Oh yeah, he knew Trip was having a naked scene with DePaul. I bet he was super pissed off that he wasn't having the naked scene with DePaul.
Interesting. So that's why he's just angry the whole time.
Exactly. It's the only reason he's angry the entire time. It helps. Okay. It works for the character though.
I don't know. It seems like a departure for Archer.
Letting his real life bleed into the character a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, so Archer dresses down Malcolm, saying, like, we've got this whole new command center. We've been out in space for 6 weeks. We haven't got any leads, and this is the only thing we've gotten. So
look at all the flat screens we've gotten here.
It's like, what are you guys aren't even using this. This is all video games.
There's no porn.
It's all porn. What have you been doing here, Malcolm? The keypads are all sticky.
Ew. Speaking of sticky, the Mako's uniforms look like they're covered in jizz.
Ugh. Gross. Well, Hoshi decides that she's going to saddle up with the Makos and make friends.
This is the scene I noticed. It looked like they have either bird shit or jizz all over their uniforms. It looks very strange.
And she says that one of the guys there is from Duluth, Minnesota. And he's like, I haven't lived in there forever. He says, but you still got that sound. So I don't know. I understand Hoshi's supposed to be like a super brilliant person with speech and language, but it seems like that you could zone in just purely on Duluth, Minnesota.
Well, did she live there too to be able to know that? I mean, like, knowing like what dialect you speak is like one thing, but knowing what city you lived in and when there's a bajillion cities in the earth, that seems like a little bit of a stretch.
Right. I don't know. It just seemed odd to me. But, I mean, I guess it's just showing that she's really good at what she does.
She is good at what she does.
She's a cunning linguist.
She's good at looking hot.
Anyway.
She and T'Pol should get together a little bit, maybe, with that cunning linguist.
Possibly. Next, Tucker takes Archer to Cargo Bay 2, where, apparently the cargo is just flying across the room.
It's Tetris saying ding, 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 ding.
I know.
Ding, 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 ding.
I don't understand how the expanse thing works, because not only are they getting the spatial or whatever gravitational anomaly going on in the ship, but why is it just located in the Cargo Bay 2 and they're flying at warp speed?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they always had like the weird little gravity spots in Enterprise, because in the first episode they find that weird little spot in between the grav plates where you can go upside down for a second. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
I thought it was odd, so I don't know.
Yeah, it was really strange, and then it's never brought up again. They just like seal it off. Right. We've got some room in our CGI budget. We're in a CGI buckets moving from one side of the room to the other side of the room.
I know, it's really weird.
It's actually kind of a short episode too, so there is some filler in it. There's
a lot of filler if you think about it. Yeah. But T'Pol goes to sickbay, and Phlox has her look at these skin cells taken by the Xindi pilot that they recovered, and he says it's basically a reptilian. And so then he tries to tiptoe around that he needs T'Pol's help to help Tucker get to sleep. Because after the death of his sister, he's been using sedatives, but he wants her to try to use the Vulcan neural pressure.
Phlox doesn't want him to get addicted to codeine.
Get him on.
He doesn't want to make him a heroin addict.
You got any more of that good stuff, Phlox?
He's like scratching his arm and like his neck. He's like, give me some more. Give me some more, Phlox. It's
shaking Phlox.
So we're gonna take you off of heroin, and we're going to make you a sex addict next, a Vulcan sex addict.
That's even worse than heroin.
But it only happens once every 7 years, so it's really, really potent when it happens.
It's really rough.
Really, really rough.
Yeah, you better take your vitamin E.
It's just, even in this scene, it seemed like, T'Pol, I need you to have sex with Trip Tucker.
Well, he doesn't say sex.
No, but it just seemed, I mean, I guess because I know they do end up having sex, it just seemed like that's what he's going to ask her to do. Or just in the XXX version, I suppose.
The one
That's
in your mind, the episode that you constructed in your head.
Yes, that episode is much, much better than the one that they actually showed.
I understand. I mean, Paul's pretty great.
It's pretty great.
So Enterprise gets to the mining facility. Archer and Reed go down in a shuttle pod. It blows me away. They still don't use the transporter, especially after everything they go through in this episode. Mm-hmm. But anyways,
they need to alien shit swimming pool.
Yeah, it's like, oh, alien shit. I can't use the transporter because I could die. Okay.
That's why the Makos went swimming. That's why they look like they're covered in shit.
They meet the mine foreman, and he is just a despicable, nefarious person. And he shows them, he says, for half a liter of platinum, liquid platinum, I can introduce you to the Xindi.
I was waiting for them to bring them liquid platinum, and like, did I say platinum? I meant latinum. And they're like, what the fuck is that?
What the fuck is latinum? And then he gives...
That would have been so great.
Then the foreman gives the finger that belongs to the Xindi, and he said, "He
gave him the finger."
And Archer's like, "Why would you do this?" He goes, "It was an unfortunate accident." So they bring that up to to the ship as well. So
this one doesn't look like a reptile.
Then Trip has this nightmare about a sister dying with a Xindi, a weapon that destroys Florida. So,
and in some reason, they're both kids. So Freudian things that they want to fuck. Oh wait, but she's dead. No more.
Oh jeez, Dave. Just because they show a picture of them younger, it just means that's his sister that remembers when she was younger.
It's
and then
Freudian. It's all about fucking.
Oh God. Okay.
Where's his mother?
Well, we don't know. Maybe she died too. So Phlox looks at the finger and finds that he is and is not Xindi. So apparently,
Xindi.
He finds that they have a common ancestry with the reptilian, but they're not totally the same. So, and Archer says, like, is that like the difference between a human and a Neanderthal? And he's like, yeah, that's basically it. So it's just they branched off in their evolutionary whatever. So they're going to still try to go down, and they're going to try to talk to this guy who lost the finger, and they're stripping some kind of coils off the engines to get that platinum. And then Trip shows up into Phlox's sick bay, saying he needs something stronger to help him sleep after his nightmare. And then he says, "Come back at 2200 hours," and he sees what you can do.
I'm going to whip up my finest placebo for you.
Yes, there you go. So they go back.
How much sugar would you like in your placebo?
Sugar water.
More sugar.
More sugar.
More sugar.
They go down to the mining facility again. Archer goes in the platinum, and they bring him down to where the Xindi works, and they find out that his finger was cut off by the foreman or his goons, and he says, "I got this. Thank you for this." So, anyways, he wants to know. Obviously, the Archer wants to know where the Xindi homeworld is, and the Xindi's like, "I'll tell you if you help me escape." And they're like,
"We weren't staging a prison break.
I thought you were here on your free." Free will. He's like, does this look like I want to be here? Does
this look like Ryza?
Yeah, exactly. So they're, and then Trip decides he's just going to start grabbing by the collar and rough him up a little bit.
Do you know what happened to my sister in my Freudian dream? It was awful.
What does the laser beam mean in the Freudian dream?
Means she's getting screwed.
Oh no. Oh boy.
Along with all the other millions of people that died in the laser beam.
Laser beam. What does Florida mean in a Freudian dream?
Florida's the penis. Remember the meme you said is America gay? America's getting a boner from being fucked by Canada.
Yeah, that's right. It
definitely is a metaphor for a penis. Sorry, people from Florida.
Sorry, people from Florida. You're living in a penis.
We should post that meme so people know what we're talking about.
People are going to be like, what the fuck are you talking about?
We're talking about internet memes.
So then this is where T'Pol contacts Archer saying there's 3 warships that are on their way and they should be there with, I think, 2 hours or something like that. And then Archer loses contacts with Enterprise and he can't call them anymore. And they realize pretty soon that something's going south there in the mining colony and that they have to get out of there because they're probably going to be the next employees down in the mine. So T'Pol is trying to talk to the foreman and trying to get but he says they aren't warships, they're cargo ships, and that they're
armed to the teeth with nipple guns.
Nipples. What does that mean, Freud?
It means they're gonna get fucked.
You got to talk with an Austrian accent if you're going to talk.
A Western accent, yeah. They mean they're gonna get fucked.
Austrian.
I don't know Austrian accent sounds like. Oh, Schwarzenegger?
Yeah, it's Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Anyways, so next we get Archer, Tucker, and the Xindi are going through sewage. This is where they could have tried to beam out, but it's too dangerous.
You know what? Drinking piss and shit of 32 alien species is preferable to being ripped apart by all these different particle beams of transporting babes. Diabetes.
And what does Freud say about that?
Diabetes.
All right. So then Reed and the Mako Major Hayes are having a huge argument about who's going to come and do the rescue.
This is an old-fashioned dick measuring contest.
This is what you... And T'Pol has to intervene and say, "Yeah, Reed, you should stay on the ship, or your crew should stay on the ship." And but Reed says, "I'll command the assault."
T'Pol's like, "I'll get the measuring tape."
Yeah, what does that mean, Freud?
It means we're measuring penises. And where's your mother?
So back on the mining colony, the guards said they couldn't find Archer or Trip or the Xindi, and they've escaped. And that's when they decide they're going through a plasma duct 13. And he says, "Well, we haven't used that one in a while. Let's put the plasma through it."
Is the plasma how we flush the feces? It just incinerated all?
I know they should clean out those sewers with the plasma once in a while. I think it'd be a good thing.
It's like a self-cleaning oven. It's a self-cleaning sewer. You just burn the shit away.
It's just shit. It's just shit cooked onto the side of the walls.
Yes. Oh, that's what they're gripping on. That's why their hands look like they're covered in bird shit after they're done climbing the pipes.
What the fuck? What do they do that for? Anyways, so they start to scale basically like a vent shaft all the way up. And I don't know how far they have to go, but it's pretty far.
What a wonderful smell you discovered.
So then they take the Makos and Malcolm all go down to the planet to start their assault to save them. And during that time, Archer and the Xindi and Trip, they have to jump through. They can't go to this exact surface. They have to kind of like cut through another place because the plasma is going to incinerate them, of course. So Archer
run into the gang.
Yes, and Archer and Trip and the Xindi, they run into the Makos eventually, and the Makos obviously liberate them. But unfortunately,
save us!
The Xindi gets shot as he's going into the
at one point they threaten to leave him behind. It's like, why would you leave him behind? He's got the information you want. Why would you ever threaten to leave him behind?
I know. Archer is so irrational in season 3. It's hard to even like reconcile him from the other 3 seasons. So
yeah, it's kind of
It's just weird. And then from there, they get back up onto the ship, and they outrun those 3 warships. They just can't keep up to Enterprise's engines. And Phlox comes in and says, "I'm sorry, I did everything I could, but I couldn't keep him alive." And he says, "But he did end up dictating me this, and it's the coordinates to the Xindi's homeworld."
Or is it diabetes?
Diabetes. Trip goes to see... Trip and Reed are talking about how much they have to shower now.
Man, I've taken 36 showers in the space of 5 minutes. I still smell like 32 kinds of shit.
32 flavors. It's like ice cream.
It's a Baskin Robbins for shit.
Baskin Robbins shit. Baskin Robbins shit. Was it?
They can make a killing.
I don't understand. We went out of business as soon as we opened our doors.
It's because Ant-Man's selling you your Baskin Robbins shit.
Oh, God. Why won't people buy frozen shit? I don't understand.
We vaporized it first to sterilize it.
We put it through the plasma ducts. We gave it the taste test of all the aliens.
We gave it more sugar.
More sugar. So Trip goes to see Phlox, and she gives him, like you said, the injection of the placebo, and then he says, "I need you to go to T'Pol and give her this this data pad or whatever."
She'll give you some more sugar too.
It's like, don't you have the cloud here? Like, what?
Can you send files?
Anyways,
isn't there a network on this ship somewhere? They still don't know how computers work in Star Trek.
I know,
because I mean, like, and even in Discovery, they're like, "Oh, we're going to transfer this file of control," and I'm like, "You're usually you make a copy of it when you transfer it, so you're technically making the problem worse by transferring the file."
I know, right? Exactly. So Trip goes to Paul's quarters, and this is where we have sexy time with Vulcan neural pressure.
I'll take my clothes off. You press my fifth vertebra.
And she takes her shirt off, which is admittedly wonderful to a guy like myself.
It's pretty hot. It's nice.
But it's so stupid. It's the dumbest thing. Like, she could have done the whole thing with her shirt on.
Yeah,
it was obviously done just to get people like, ooh, titillating.
Yes, but the scene is sexier than all of Discovery season 1 and 2 put together.
Well, of course.
Because the only weird thing that happened in Discovery was like a weird, awkward rape scene with weird prosthetics on your boobs. So that wasn't even sexy. That was just weird.
Yeah, just weird. And then, we just have T'Pol going, harder.
Moaning a little bit. It was kind of nice. Yeah. Kind of gratuitous, but also kind of nice.
Anyways, Enterprise goes to the coordinates by the Xindi, and but there's no sign of anything. It's just a debris field, and it happened 120 years in the past. So, Trip says that there has been a civilization there. There's certain signs that
it's Henry Zabrowski's Civilization 5 game. He destroyed it.
He blew it up. So Archer says, "Okay, we're going to go deeper into the Expanse." So this possibly was a Xindi homeworld, and it doesn't exist anymore.
We moved to ones we decided to all work together.
So back to the Xindi Council, we see that the Enterprise is, they know the Enterprise looked at the debris field, and they're going into the distortion field or the Expanse, and he says they won't survive that the Expanse. And then the insectoid guy,
he gets a word underlined.
He basically says, if you don't get this weapon online, then I'll just go destroy the Enterprise myself.
I love how they underlined one of their words. It was kind of funny. Do they just pick underlines?
And that wraps up this episode of the Xindi. Dave, what did you think of this episode?
It was kind of it was a pretty good episode. I don't hate the Xindi arc. I don't think I do. I haven't watched it all in a really long time, but I thought this was pretty okay. A lot of filler in the episode, but it wasn't badly done. It was kind of neat seeing the guy asking for Latinum and him being such a scumbag, and being so hateable and easily hateable. Even so, you can make someone who's even more hateable than Archer's being this season, which is kind of nice.
And the funny thing is, like, didn't Archer why would Archer even trust this guy? You know?
Well, it's in the preview. They said they showed from the last episode where Trip is going no more of this non-interference crap that Paul's setting up to us, and Archer's like, we'll do what we have to do.
Right.
And so they're going rogue. Fuck the Federation that doesn't exist yet. We're gonna do what we need to do to save Earth. And so they're kind of going off the grid and doing the dirty to win. And it was definitely dirty this episode.
Yeah. Walking through shit.
Wading through shit. It's I'm not putting my hand down here to pull this lever. You guys got my finger cut off. You know how many diseases I can get sticking my finger in this?
Trip almost got a mouthful of alien shit.
Yeah, he did. He was so close to getting a mouthful. Man, what if you actually swallowed some? Oh, man.
Oh,
because in the water, you get hit by waves. Sometimes you actually swallow the seawater. It's so nasty.
It might taste really sweet though. You don't know.
No, what if they poop? What if they're it tastes like aspartame? Because aspartame just it's like bacteria shit. They feed bacteria something and they collect and its remains as aspartame. It's pretty awesome and disgusting and bad for you. Aspartame's not good for you.
Yeah, I don't I try to avoid aspartame actually because it does weird things to my body.
Gives you the shits real good.
It can do that as well. Yeah.
It was also very sexy. Enterprise is still the sexy Star Trek.
They definitely worked real hard at trying to make it as sexy and I don't know what you want to call it, just more provocative.
It was provocative. I kind of like that. I'm kind of sad Discovery isn't more sexy.
Sad.
Well, the thing is, I've always said, it's on the play. It's got the paywall. Kids don't have to watch it. A lot of the episodes are rated MA, and for no good reason. The violence isn't really over the top. There's not been any real sex or nudity except for the rape scene. I mean, the only thing, the graphicest thing was in season 1, the Tyler getting tortured.
Right.
Other than that, it's been pretty tame-ish. I mean, there's been a couple things that have been, a couple F-bombs here and there, but it's not really pushed the bounds of an MA rating on a streaming platform.
No, I agree.
Could. So
it definitely hasn't. Yeah.
Discovery had the potential to be the super sexy Star Trek that could get away with anything, and they're not even going as far as Enterprise did in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So, come on, Discovery, push it a little bit harder. You're on a platform that you're not on TV.
Push it real good.
Push it, yeah. Chicken. Well, how about you? What are your thoughts on this episode?
I don't know. Xindi War to me kind of dragged out quite a bit.
Even in the first episode?
Yeah, it's I get what they're doing. So
9/11.
It's a total 9/11, response. None of that non-interference bullshit. So they're going to throw away some of their ideas to figure out. I mean, to save Earth, apparently. Still unprovoked attack, not knowing why it happened. Mm-hmm. But to me, it's more of just it's long and it's boring. It's weird. It's I don't know. And like I said, Archer loses his that twinkle in his eye of exploration. He's just sort of
murderous rage for
I'm gonna
3.
Fuck these guys up, and I don't know. It loses something for me, and it's just a whole season based on, or at least a good part of the season, based on.
I see what you're going with. It almost makes it seem strange. It should have been Archer who had the sister who died.
Yeah,
because that would give him the murderous rampage. Although Trip's got it too, but it seems like just maybe he's empathizing with Trip so much he's picking up on Trip's emotions instead of having his own emotions about what's going on. And I don't know, I think it would have made more sense if Archer was the one who had a sister who died directly, or some family member that died directly, an ex-wife or something, a child, something from his past that died. That would have made the rage make more sense in season 3.
Yeah. I agree completely. And and the whole Trip and DePaul thing, like I think you said it before we started the show.
Before we started.
It just seemed like took a quick left turn into that, which we were kind of like led to believe at some point that Archer and DePaul were going to have some kind of relationship.
Oh, absolutely. There's like so many like weird slips, and like they have a weird relationship, and he like grabs her boobs the one time and face plants her boobs and like says boobs to her face or something like that. Boobs. And like it's just like
did I just say that out loud?
Did I just say boobs to your face? I mean, I'd rather put my face in your boobs, but whatever. But there was like this tension building between them, and then they pivot to Trip. And all this stuff all of a sudden pivots the Trip for no apparent reason. Like everything should have stayed on Archer, I think. And
Trip's like an okay character, but he seems like a decent engineer, but I don't know, he doesn't do much for me. And,
I mean, I'm not trying to hate on Trip. It's just like for Archer to be so angry, he should have had the sister that died. Like, they built up this relationship in the first 2 seasons between DePaul and him, and all of a sudden it's going the Trip. Everything's going Trip-centric, and I don't know why.
And, it's a funny thing. It just occurred to me right now while we're talking, is there's something about Enterprise that, although everybody in the show are, like you said, this is like the sexy Star Trek. They're all like, attractive. They're, fit. They're all like, look top of their game for like looks wise. There's something like not charismatic about them, not in a bad way, like not, but it's like, when you look at, Next Gen or the original series, there's something just like, you just like, you want to watch those people.
Well, I think Enterprise was meant to be rough around the edges, even with the casting and the characters, because nothing's figured out yet. This is before TOS. They don't even have Red Alert. They don't have shields. They don't have photon torpedoes.
But I'm not talking about the technical aspect.
No,
I'm talking purely on the casting side of it.
Absolutely. I mean, I agree. I'm just saying, like, everything's rougher. Even the characters, even the casting choices, like everything's rough, and it's probably that way deliberately.
I guess, but it just seems disjointed, and it's not that when I watch an episode, there's nothing I can just point out and say I don't like that. I mean, maybe a few episodes I can say I don't like this or I don't like that, but there's nothing like glaringly terrible about it. It's just like it doesn't hold my attention like if I'm watching a Next Gen episode or watching an original series episode. There's something about it just lacking. I mean, Deep Space Nine has some really cool characters.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, there's some characters I could do without, but whatever. I mean, it is what it is. And even Voyager, there's some characters that are pretty like fun to watch. But I don't know. There's something about this.
Enterprise is very clearly the superficial Star Trek, but it's superficial in all the right ways because, like, I don't know, if you just like close your eyes and listen to some scenes in Enterprise versus
a long time.
No, not the song, no. But I mean, just like the music production is really top notch generally in this, more so than other Star Treks. I think it sounds more cinematic than some of the other ones. Like I just remember we were doing like a clip show or something. We were watching little bits. And I remember like watching a little bit of an episode of Voyager, watching a little bit of an episode of Next Gen. I think it was like worst the worst or favorites part. It was some kind of thing where you just doing a bunch of little talks about. I don't remember. It's been a long time since I did the episode, but I just remember like just watching a small little clip of Enterprise and just thinking about how much the production was on Enterprise and all the other shows. Granted, it was the newest one at the time.
Sure,
but still, like it's got a sheen to it that none of the other ones do. Even Discovery, the sheen on Discovery is, I guess, newer, but it's still like murky with their outer space CGI. It was better in season 2, but there's still some murkiness to it that was never there in the Star Trek ship shots that we're used to seeing. Like, there's the sheen and everything on Enterprise is really well done, and it's sexy in the way it looks, it's sexy in the way it sounds. All the characters are really sexy for the men and women out there. They're all really pretty to look at. We got those wonderful decontamination scenes a couple times a season. We get Hoshi holding her boobs later on, and we get T'Pol holding her boobs in this episode. It's very surface level sexy, and I get what you mean. Like, there's no characters I super love except for like the girls because they're pretty hot, and I like Phlox. Phlox is pretty cool, but Archer isn't like super. Like, he's not my favorite captain.
Yeah,
like Trip's okay. No one really stands out to me except for like the opposite sex characters because they're like really pretty and like.
Well, because you're just attracted to them.
Well, yeah.
But no, I mean, but the point is, my point being is like all of them sound great on paper.
Yeah.
And all of them, like when you see them, you're like, yeah, it seems like a really great show. And like like you said, the productions are all there, but just something just like the magic's lacking. It's like sometimes, these like, you get like all these like these super groups where all these amazing musicians get all together and they make a group, and they like put an album together and like people buy them just because like, they're amazing, but they didn't write any amazing songs, and nobody ever refers to them again, and you're just like, okay, it's like, it's okay, it's not great, it's weird though. I can't quite. So it's odd to me that I should love Enterprise way more, and there's parts of it I really do like, but and I like, and as we've said before, season 4 is like the best, I think. Some of the best Star Trek
season of Star Trek ever.
It might be. I don't know if it quite is, but it's up there.
It's really good, and they do it right with all the great TOS callbacks. The only thing with season 4 is really lacking is tying up the temporal Cold War arc. Which just ended on nothing because they couldn't get a 5th season to finish it out. But season 4 was really firing all cylinders, and it was a really great season of Star Trek, I think.
Yeah. I agree. Absolutely.
And they did the callbacks to like everything right, except for the final episode, which was a weird TNG episode.
Yeah, no, I get it. But I don't know. I just I don't hate this episode, and it just, there seems like, like the mining thing, it's a fun, like they give you an action sequence, so you're just not bored to tears as they're trying to find the Xindi homeworld.
It's like this episode of Clue. Where's Xindi? Let's go find them. And they're trying to piece it all together for 30 episodes.
Yeah, I don't know. So yeah, it's just one of those things. It's like it's not great, but it's okay. And it's cool too because we're getting. I guess we saw it in Deep Space Nine, but like more of a serialized Star Trek starting.
Yeah.
During this point, is like Deep Space Nine was already doing that. So, but it was cool to see that. I mean, I guess. Yeah. I guess Next Gen sort of did that as well.
Yeah, there were some really interesting connections. I mean, like in what was it? There Are Four Lights, Chain of Command. Mm-hmm. They referenced the conspiracy episode, which like I thought they never referenced that, and we were both kind of surprised that it was referenced, and so late in the show too. And it was just like a passing reference. Right. So I mean, there was some continuation, but it was always very light and peppered in TNG. DS9 did it hard, and then Season 3 Enterprise did it hard. And Discovery did it hard in Season 1, and then they pretended they weren't doing it in Season 2, even though they were.
Yeah. No,
it's like, let's make it episodic, but let's make it still like connect the story. Like, pick one or the other, please. Please.
I know.
Please.
And tell you the truth, as for prequels, or what do you want to call it, I think Enterprise did a great job of trying to show the beginning of, Earth's going into space and the whole like beginning of Starfleet and the Federation and stuff like that. I think that was wonderful. I'm not, but then, you got
used more
these guys.
Orions.
What they did, they had Orions.
Every now and then they could have used more, but that's okay. They did a little bit.
Well, how many Orions do you want?
All of them, all the time. Well, it's just funny in Deep Space Nine, like the Orion Syndicate becomes a big plot point, like season 6 and 7, or just season 7 toward the end. But no Orion's ever seen on screen in all of DS9, I think, which is very strange.
Right? No, never see him at all. But you get, but you have like Rick Berman and Brandon Braga doing a lot of the writing, and hey, they know their Trek.
Yeah.
They're well versed in it, so it's like, and they have the whole crew probably from who worked in Voyager and Deep Space Nine and possibly some TNG people too. So I mean, you have all these people that have known Trek for a good 10 years, if not longer. So like that's what's great about Enterprise is they get all the beats right.
Yes, more so than Voyage. I mean, not Voyage. Discovery. And
that's the thing that's really hurtful for guys like us is like we watch Discovery, we want to love it, and they're not. You can
tell the people working on it have no idea what the fuck they're doing.
They never, bring even like Rick Berman or any of these guys in as just a consultant.
Like Ron Moore. Ron Moore, I'd give him more credence over Rick Berman. Rick Berman
just saying,
was
like any of these guys, they could have used any of them, absolutely. And they would have been like, yeah, you don't want to use this, and you wouldn't change the story much at all. You'd be like literally just tweaking things.
But that was the problem. Ryan Fuller was supposed to be, he's our savior. He's worked on Star Trek before, and yet he's the one who made all these weird sweeping changes to how Discovery looked and felt before he left. And since everything had already started, they couldn't change it until season 2.
Right. No, I know.
So it's just kind of like, not everyone who had worked on it before cared, I guess. I don't know. It was weird. I don't understand why Fuller did what he did. I really wish they would have paid Ron Moore a lot of money to come back, because Ron Moore, I know he's doing his Outlander show. I don't know if that's still going or not. If it's over, I hope they bring him back in at least as a consultant, because he's the one who really made the Klingon shine. Like, he really pushed for the Klingon stuff and Next Gen and fleshed out Worf stuff, and
sure.
he was a lot responsible for a lot of the best stuff, and DS9 too. Like he was really, he was barely in Voyager at all, which is why Voyager floundered a lot, I think.
Mm-hmm.
That and Voyager had all the studio attention, so it had the most meddling, which also doesn't help. Studios need to stay out of the business. Let your creative people do their job.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. But, so that's I don't know. It's cool going back and looking at Enterprise. I haven't watched an episode of Enterprise in a while.
It's probably been a year. I don't know if you've watched any on your own, but like the last episode I watched was the last episode of season 2. So when I turned on Netflix, it had episode 1 of season 3 queued up already, because I literally have not watched Enterprise since we talked about it last.
It's funny because I think I watched both of them back to back when we watched The Expanse earlier.
Yeah.
And
I think you did mention that a year ago, I think, yeah.
I watched both of them, and so I was like, did we talk about this already? Because I remember watching this recently.
I think you did watch both of them, because we originally were going to go with this one, but then I realized that last episode of the previous season tied into it, so we needed to start there. And I'm kind of excited to maybe do this maybe more than once a year, just so we can see the Xindi arc, see it with fresh eyes, because it's been years since I've seen it all the way through, so... Yeah, it'd be kind of neat to see if my opinion changed on it, because I don't remember hating it. Like, I know it was like you either hated it or you loved it.
I just remember like watching it and being like, okay, guys, can we wrap this up? Can there do other things? So
can we do 2 story arcs in this season?
Yeah. But it was fun to go back. Honestly, for a season 3 opener, I think it's kind of a weak episode. They could have done something a little more interesting.
For a season opener, I didn't even think about it as a season opener. I think their big blow for it being a season opener was getting T'Pol naked. That's honestly the biggest thing that happened. It's just like, we got to keep watching to see if more of that happens. I think they were totally going for the titillating part, which, I mean, maybe isn't the best choice. I mean, I'm not saying you shouldn't ever do it, but I mean, like, that was the one thing that's like, that was interesting this episode.
Yeah, I mean, Jolene Blaylock is, obviously awesome to see. And it
was also funny, like, Tucker's like, you're making sexual advances, and then she, like, gets on his face. I am not making sexual advances. I'm just trying to help you sleep, you stupid son of a bitch.
Yeah, well... There's other ways to make me sleep.
This is not a Freudian thing, Trip.
I don't know. I
mean, really. I mean, that was the only standout thing in this episode that made it a little bit different than any other Star Trek episode, honestly.
Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it was like, And it was near the end of the episode, too. So it's like, what's going to happen next episode? Are we getting more neuropressure?
More pressure.
More
Deeper.
holding boobies.
Deeper, harder.
Is that a little bit of butt crack I see to Paul? Do Vulcans have 2 buttholes?
2 buttholes.
Well, Klingons have 2 penises, so you know.
Oh, so you just go there automatically?
Well, you know, it's always good to have a rectal stethoscope on hand to find out.
I hear a heartbeat.
It's very faint. Maybe I should move it closer to the heart.
All right, Dave. Well, I think we've talked enough about Vulcan buttholes.
And diabetes.
Diabetes and Freud.
All right.
Well, yeah, so thanks for joining us in this episode. We really appreciate you listening and downloading the episode. Obviously, like I said before, go to the Facebook page, join us there. Also, you can go email us at synthaholics@yahoo.com. You can tweet at us at synthaholics at synthaholicsduo.
And all the other fun links you can find on our webpage, the full show notes.
Yeah, synthaholics.com. And then also go to our Patreon page if you would like to support the show. And as always, please consider sharing the show or telling your friends, telling your schoolmates, your classmates, or anybody else that might like a Star Trek podcast about our podcast, about the show.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for listening. Live long and prosper. One and all.
Before the night's over, I'll puke in the sink and we'll cry till we laugh. And we'll both shit our pants. You're the best drinking friend I ever had.
Beat me up.
Deeper, harder.
Don't let me swim in this shit. Please, for the love of God, beat me out of this shithole.
I'm literally in a shithole.
I'm literally in a shit tube.
Release the plasma.
Well, I mean, at least Enterprise is like fun.
It is. I agree.
Like, yeah, I definitely think this was almost more fun to talk about than some of the Discovery episodes we've talked about.
Well, yeah, because that's the bad thing is like this season it's all about war. And it's all about
what is it good for?
Absolutely nothing. No, but I mean, it's I was going to say it's all about them trying to track down the Xindi, and it's revenge in some sort of way. And but it's most part for the rest of the Enterprise, it's about exploration and getting into jams and getting yourself out. So it's all adventure,
Yeah.
Where Discovery always just seems like, it's all, the world's going to end and it's your fault, Michael Burnham.
It's the Michael Burnham show.
Yeah. So
it's just so weird. It's just like, this is like oddly refreshing to watch. I mean, I think maybe that's why I wasn't super down on it for being slow and filled a bunch of filler. It's almost refreshing after so much Discovery where like it's all filler and the plot doesn't make sense.
Right.
Oh my god. I hope that Picard isn't a flaming pile of 32 alien shits.
Well, yeah, me too. I hope it turns out better.
Oh, I hope so. I mean, I'm more excited about it for sure than Discovery Season 3.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But
yeah,
I don't know. Like
it could be good. We just don't know yet.
I don't trust the writing staff. I mean, I'm Immortal, the very modern Major General was written by the guy who's writing Picard. So, Stuck on a Turbo Shaft is written by that guy, Michael Chabon. So, I don't know if we're looking forward to a bunch of musical numbers in Picard or not.
Might be fun.
It might be terrible, or maybe he'll sing Farrah Jacques in a turbo lift shaft again because that was
all by himself.
All by himself,
but he's all sad.
He's like dreaming of Data.
Farrah Jacques, dormez-vous.
I wish there was a Cardassian here singing this with me with his buttons.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hopefully it's going to be better, but I guess we'll just have to find out.
I hope so. I hope it'll be good.